welcome to our podcast, episode 109 on Valve War. So, I wanted to delve a bit more deeply into the lore of certain games, and I guess to start, probably a new trend I will probably do a bit. Is Valve games, seeing that um, I love the Valve games and I love Valve games lores, so why not talk about it? The only one I'm not going to be really talking about is Dota, because I don't know anything about Dota's lore. You'll have to find, I guess, a different YouTube video for that. So yeah, but otherwise, I'm, you know, gonna be, talking about, Left 4 Dead, Counter Strike, even though those are the simple ones. Then going into more of the advanced stuff like Team Fortress 2 and Half-Life slash Portal, seeing that, in the same universe, but each one, you know, it is sort of separate, yet, then the same. But, yeah. Either way, let's just begin with Counter Strike, seeing it's the easiest, and I'll build my way up. So there's not really much lore, if any, for Counter Strike. The most there is probably the Counter Strike Condition Zero's deleted scenes campaign, which is definitely a campaign I would recommend. I enjoyed it. It's a quirky little CS campaign. Like you would never expect, Counter Strike to have a proper campaign, but it did, and it's I guess somewhat enjoyable, I suppose. I mean, it can be a little bit hard at times, I suppose, especially on the higher difficulties, but, if you just want to enjoy a campaign, it's definitely, worth checking out. But let's move forward to Left 4 Dead. So Left 4 Dead, yeah, again, is not one with too much lore. Most of its lore is, in the safe rooms, the safe rooms writing. So that's mainly how the lore is conveyed. But still, quite a interesting, to see what other people have written, and yeah, it can be quite fun. And quirky. It's a quirky way of, I guess, having lore. But yeah, again, not much there. Let's move on to heavy here finally. TF2. Yeah, again, it's been a few years, so I'm a bit rusty on my TF2 lore, but here's the summary of the TF2 lore by me, a fool who hasn't um like like seen much of it in like a couple of years. So there's Redman and Blueman. They're fighting like a eternal battle with the mercenaries. And the mercenaries are very wacky, and there's some very wacky stories within the TF2 lore. But anyway, they're like eternally fighting. But eventually they die, and also there's Saxon Hale, who's like leader of Manco or something. You know, well, he is, but like he loses that position to Grayman because he uses his daughter um, to to win the fight because Saxon doesn't want to hurt the little girl, and so Grayman takes over. So the mercenaries fight robots and stuff. And yeah, I think eventually they do win and take it back, but it seems like there would be some sort of indication that the administrator would be like the final bad, like the person that's um, on one particular side, and but the final comic never came out. But there's been supposed leaks about it, and where some are legitimate or not. I believe the most legitimate candidate one was quite bizarre from what I remember, but yeah. But yeah, TF2 never got a proper ending in its lore, but it's definitely got some wacky lore. Definitely some of the wackiest lore ever. It's kind of like the Portal's alternate, like, timeline stuff where, Cave Johnson, there we are, um, messing up my speech, but Cave Johnson gets turned into a stonehead with his personality or robot head. I think it is a robot head and a stone head or something like that. I don't remember specifically. But yeah, because some of the alternate timeline portal stuff is a bit weird. But speaking of portal, let's actually cover the main, timeline of portal, not the extra stuff because it's a bit weird. So there's, Aperture Science, their rival company to Black Mesa, which we'll get back to, later. Um, but they decided to, mess with science and didn't really care too much about things. They were definitely a lot more like relaxed about things and may have took things too far. And out of the options whether to work at Aperture Science or Black Mesa any day sure had a resonance cascade, but up until that point everything was fine. You know, like Black Mesa actually seemingly cared a bit more, although things were still dangerous, like radiation hazards and all that. But we'll get back to Black Mesa later. So eventually they made GLaDOS because they couldn't get Cave Johnson into uh, um, uh, AI form in the main timeline, although they did succeed in others. But, um, but yeah, Glass went absolutely crazy with power and killed everyone, and which leads to the events of Paul, where there's Batman somewhere in the background trying to survive as the last survivor, and Shell taking down GLaDOS, and eventually Portal 2 happens, unknown period in the future. It's said to be like um 50,000 years or something, or like like it's unknown, and it's unknown if like it's a truth or not, because um like GLaDOS has lied about time before, so um what's to, stop the system from being wrong as well. Um GLaDOS gets defeated, and pull one, then pull two, then Wheatley takes over, beat Wheatley, yeah, again, pull two is not very well known. Well, I guess sort of known, and yeah. So yeah, its story and I guess lore is a lot easier to follow, I suppose. But yeah. Now we get to the last one, Half Life. So Half Life, there's Black Mesa, which has been a long time science facility, just like Aperture Science, and they've been long helping the military and all that. And but eventually, Black Mesa has a little incident known as the resonance cascade, and everything gets screwed. And Gordon Freeman has to defeat a space baby. But what happens afterwards, after the aftermath, is the part that's a little bit, well, obviously a lot of people know about the 7 hour war, but the immediate aftermath is a little bit less unknown. But a lot of portal storms happened after the aftermath of the resonance cascade incident, which led up to a lot of creatures, even after, Gordon had defeated Nealanth, or, the space baby god. Um, like, still led to a lot of, aliens escaping into our world, and a lot of deaths, and eventually the Combine, you know, waited until we had been weakened up a bit, and then, invade us, and, the whole 7 hour war, the well known thing. So, then, Half Life, continues as per usual. Um, Eventually Gordon returns. They take down the Citadel. They had to, they have to escape, C-17 and head to White Forest. And then it leaves on a cliffhanger. But then G-Man, is like, I'm gonna fudge up timelines. The multiverse is mine. Cave Johnson. If it was the other timeline that's only in like cut dialogue, um, where he, makes a blapture, or is that even cut dialogue? I forget if it's because of the mod into the multiverse for Portal, or if it was actual cut dialogue. I forget. But doesn't matter. Cave Johnson didn't succeed, buying Black Mesa, at least in the main Half-Life timeline. Um, although Black Mesa will probably become a Aperture Science 2 in that case. Although that Cave Johnson did seem more reasonable because he was like causing resonance cascades. You're a scientist after all, or something along those lines. I forget the line exactly, but nonetheless, that Cave Johnson seemed a lot more smarter. So maybe things wouldn't have gone terribly, but um, either way, G-Man's like, what? I'm gonna mess with time. Alex, save me. You'll think I'm Gordon until the last moment where it's revealed that I am me, G-Man. I'm here to make a deal which will benefit me for whatever reason. Because a previous hire has been unwilling to help, so you're my new hire. Gordon's fired, and you're in, Alex, and now we're just waiting on Half-Life 3 again. Waited, 13 years to sort of resolve a cliffhanger, but not really. But yeah. But yeah. That's the law of, I guess, all Valve games. Um, yeah. Except, like, a few, like, Dota. I guess Day of Defeat, but that's, can you call history law? That's just the law of our world. So, I guess Day of Defeat doesn't count. Um, Alien Swarm, I mean, the law is basically alien xenomorphs again, kinda. Bit twisted version, our own versions of basically aliens, but nonetheless, it's just aliens again. And I don't think there's law to Ricochet. Honestly, that 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 game like doesn't have law. Yeah. Either way, that's Valve law. So yeah, that'll be it for this our podcast episode. So yeah, until next time, peace and goodbye.